Welcome back. So we are still under indices. Under the examples. So we solve question 1, we solve question 2, we solve question 3. Now we're on question 4. But please, if you have been following us in the previous video, there's a change in question 4. There's a change in question 4 in the way I wrote question 4. So go back to the previous video and check question 4. So there's a change. The x is not down, it's not below, it is up. The x is up. Please make sure you correct that. Now, how do you solve this guy? We have 3 raised to power x all square plus 2 into bracket 3 raised to power x minus 3 equals to 0. How do you solve this question? It's very, very simple. Solution. Now, we have 3 raised to power x all square plus 2 into bracket 3 raised to power x minus 3 equals to 0. So I can say let p be equals to 3 raised to power x. Let p be equals to 3 raised to power x. I can use my own as p. You can decide to use your own a. You can say let a be equals to 3 raised to power x. You can use b, you can use y, you can use anything. So you get. So now I'm using let p be equals to what? 3 raised to power x. Meaning anywhere I see 3 raised to power x, I'm going to put what? P. I'm going to put p. Now let's come. So this is 3 raised to power x. What are we going to put? We call it p square, right? Because it's having square. 3 raised to power x is p already. So it's having square. So that's why I'm putting this. Then plus 2. This is now what? P minus 3. All equals to what? 0. All equals to 0. So look at it now. How do we solve this question? If you look at this equation, what does it look like? It looks like what? Quadratic equation, right? It looks like quadratic equation. What's quadratic equation? Quadratic equation is in form of ax squared plus bx plus c all equals to 0. Quadratic equation is in form of this guy. So if you look at this and this, they look alike. Shey you understand? They look alike. So what do we do? To solve a quadratic equation, the fastest way and the easiest way is what? Is through factorization method. Don't worry. I'm still going to work on quadratic equation. We are still going to solve quadratic equation together. In that video, I'm going to explain how you solve quadratic equation using any method. You can use factorization method, completing the square method, the almighty formula, and you can use graphical method. But here, let's just use the simplest and the fastest way, which is what? Factorization. And how do you factorize? It's very, very simple. Now, you pick an arrow from the front to the back. Pick an arrow from the front to the back. Now, what's in front? In front here, we have p square. What's at the back here? At the back here, we have minus 3. You have to go with the sign. Work with the sign. Here is minus 3, right? Here is minus 3. If it is plus, you call it plus 3. But here is minus 3. So here is minus, that's why we call it minus 3. So you multiply them together. You multiply the first and the last, which is p square times minus 3 will give us what? Will give us minus 3p square, right? P square times minus 3 will give us minus 3p square. So what do? You look for two numbers. Now when we multiply the two numbers, it will give us this one that we took the arrow. And when we add that same two number, it will give us the one at the middle. And what's at the middle? Plus 2p. You have to go with the sign. If here is minus, you call it minus 2p. So if here is plus, you call it plus 2p. So let's look for two numbers. Now when we multiply it, it will give us this one that we took the arrow. And what is the arrow? Minus 3p square. Then when we add that same two number, it will give us the one at the middle. What's at the middle? Plus 2p. If it is minus, we call it minus 2p. So what are the two numbers? What are the two numbers we can use? Okay, we can use minus 1p and 3p and plus 3p. Now, minus 1p times 3p will give us what? Minus 3p squared. It's correct, right? Then minus 1p plus 3p will give us what? Will give us plus 2p. Minus 1p plus 3p will give us plus what? Plus 2p. Minus 1p plus 3p is the same as saying 3p minus 1p. 3p minus 1p will give us what? Will give us plus 2p. So it's still actually correct. So what do you now do next? This is what you do next. You pick the first thing in the equation. In your equation, what is the first thing there? You have p square. You now pick the first thing you use, the first number you use, which is what? Minus 1p. You pick the second number you use, which is what? Plus 3p. Then you pick the last thing, which is what? Minus 3. Let me come again. Let me explain it again. You pick the first number you use, which is what? P square. You pick the second number you use, which is what? Minus 1p. You pick the first thing in the equation, which is p square. Then you pick the first number you use, which is minus 1p. You pick the second number you use, which is what? Plus 3p. Here it's just like invisible plus now, plus 3p. Then you pick the last thing in the equation, which is what? Minus 3. So all equals to what? 0. That's how you do it. You throw away this middle one. We don't need it again. You don't need it again. So what do? You pick your bracket like this. So now, what is common here? Between p square minus 1p, what is common? P is common. So p in p square. When I say p in p square, this is what I mean. P in p square. You know this p square means p times p. So p will cancel p. What is remaining? P. Now, p in minus 1p. P in minus 1p. You know p will cancel p. What is remaining? Minus 1. And that's all about that. You can decide to open it back just to check if you are actually correct. P times p will give us what? P square. P times minus 1 will give us minus 1p. So we are correct. Now, what is common here? Is p common? P is here, but p is not here. So, but what is common here? 3 plus 3. I can bring plus 3 out. Now, plus 3 in plus 3p. Plus 3 in plus 3p. 3 will cancel 3. Plus in plus is still plus. What is remaining? P, right? P, right? Now, plus 3 in minus 3. When I say plus 3 in minus 3, this is what I mean. 3 in 3 is 1, Abi. Plus times minus is what? Minus. Plus times minus is what? Minus. So what do we have? Minus 1 equals to what? 0. So if you decide, you can open it back just to check. Plus 3 times p is what? Plus 3p. Plus 3 times minus 1 is what? Minus 3. Do you get? Minus 3. So that is that about that. Now, you see that the bracket is the same. You can see that the bracket is the same. If the bracket is different, if the sign in the bracket are different, you are wrong somewhere. The bracket must be the same. Here must be p minus 1, p minus 1. If it is p plus 1, it must be p plus 1. All true. Share you get. So the bracket must not, here must not be p minus 1, here should be p plus 1. No, you are wrong somewhere. Do you understand? So you are wrong somewhere. Now, what do we do? Since the bracket is the same, you pick one of the brackets. One of the brackets is p minus 1, right? Since the bracket is the same, pick one of the bracket and you now pick the one outside. What was outside? P plus 3. All equals to what? 0. So what do you now do? Equate this one to 0, equate this one to 0. So that will be p minus 1 equals to 0, or p plus 3 equals to 0. So p will be equals to, when minus 1 cross, what will it become? 1 plus 1, right? When minus 1 cross, what will it become? Plus 1. Or p is equals to, when plus 3 cross, what will it become? Minus 3. When plus 3 cross, what will it become? Minus 3. So we're only considering the positive integer, which is only this. We'll neglect the negative integer. So it's only this we are considering. Now, but we are not done yet. Don't forget, we said let p be equals to what? 3 raised to the power of x, right? So we can now say, recall that p is equals to 3 to the power of x, Abi. So when p is equals to 1, when p is equals to 1, what will be our value? So meaning that if p is equals to 1, meaning this p now, what will I do? I'll write it as what? I'll say 1 is equals to 3 to the power of x. But we are looking for x. How do you get x? So if they say 1 is equals to 3 to the power of x, this 1, I can still write it as, okay, I can still write it as 3 to the power of 0 equals to 3 to the power of x. 3 to the power of 0 is still 1. Anything raised to the power of 0 is what? 1, right? So, but since I need 3, that's why I'm using 3 to the power of 0. If here is written as 5 to the power of x, I'll say 5 to the power of 0 is still equals to what? 1. You understand? So since now they have the same base, what do we do? Since they have the same base, what do we do? So that 0 is equals to what? X. You just take their power. 0 is equals to x. Therefore, x is equals to 0. I know some of you will be very upset that. So this is why we are solving all this just to get 0. I know you'll be angry, but don't be angry. Don't just be angry. Just like this video, I beg. Just like this video. Don't be angry and just swipe away. Please, just like, share this video. I know you're angry that with all our solvings, the answer we are getting is just 0. Please don't be angry. Please just like this video, comment, and share this video. And please don't forget to subscribe to my YouTube channel. Thank you.